Hey guys, this is Wesley Todd with Florida Prison Consulting, and I've got a really serious issue for you today. If you're about to be released, or if you're looking forward to release, and you're trying to plan your future, housing is so important, and it's so difficult to obtain right now, especially with you being a felon, because they do check your background reports to rent places, etc. Unless you've got tons and tons and tons of money to buy a new place, like you've managed to stash money and hide it the feds don't know about, you're looking at renting a place. Unless your family can help you with a place, etc., you're looking at renting a place, and sometimes that's very hard to do. Now, I'm going to tell you about some experiences that I have had trying to use legal loopholes, trying to take advantage of loopholes in the system, and I'm going to tell you where I went wrong. I'm going to tell you legal loopholes that I used, different things that happen in the process, so you don't make the same mistakes. And I'm also going to share with you some other ideas for housing that might be total legal loopholes depending on the county, the state, etc. So here's the first legal loophole for shelter, for those that might be interested. Okay, now this isn't for everyone, but if you're just looking for a legal loophole for a shelter and you don't want to pay rent, and maybe you can't get qualified for a rental place, here is a possible legal loophole depending on the state, depending on the county, etc. There are free sailboats everywhere. People buy these boats. I've got one right now you can have for $1,000. It's an entire house. It's parked in the water right now. It's got a sump pump running in it. It's an entire house in the water. You can live in the intercoastal waterway in Florida rent-free in a sailboat. That is one option. Now the other option is you can get a piece of property, and depending on the state, depending on the county, depending on the laws and regulations, you can potentially bury that sailboat and just leave access for a door, build a little door opening to where you can access down into it, and you're not going to need AC, you're not going to need heat. The ground is going to completely insulate the boat. You can either cut the mast off, or you could actually use the mast to generate electricity through a windmill. That's one option. You could also put solar panels above the ground. You could legally pump the sewage out of the sailboat like once a month, something like that. Depending on the sailboat you get, some of them can have built-in showers, whole bathrooms, whole kitchens, etc. So you could really easily get away with a complete house underground. Now, let's say you get a cabin cruiser boat, a big cabin cruiser boat. Some of these are huge. Some of these are 3- or 4-story boats. They're giant. Here's what you can do. If you obtain a piece of property, you can actually take a giant hill. You can bury this boat in the hill, and you can leave just the back doors accessible to where you can get in and out of it, and you're not going to need AC. You're not going to need any heat. The ground's going to insulate the boat. It's going to look pretty nice from the outside, actually. And you're going to go in, it's going to be spacious, it's going to be big, it can be 3 or 4 stories, and it's going to be completely insulated by the ground. You can have solar panels hooked up, to run your refrigerator, things like that. You can totally customize it like a house, but it's underground and it's out of view. And I don't know if the code enforcement in your area can enforce that or not. I don't think I could get away with that in South Florida, but it's possible in some areas. I know that a lot of people are actually living on boats on their property, and they're getting away with it. The one requirement a lot of times is that the boat be functionable. So putting a trolling motor on the boat would cause it to be functional. The motors inside don't have to run, but if you put a trolling motor on the boat and just have a battery attached to it, that is a fully functional boat. So that is a legal loophole in some areas, but it will not work in my county. So you'll definitely want to check, any possible cases, any possible statutes about it. But that's a really good idea. Now, if you want to be a super entrepreneur, find an area where they're not going to cause you any problems about this. Buy like 5 acres and get 50 free sailboats. And you could be renting these things out, getting $200 or $300, $400, $500 a month rent, for these little apartments that are all buried underground. Totally loophole. That's a crazy idea. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but depending on the location, maybe Arizona, maybe Texas, etc., you might actually get away with that. And solar panels will provide you all the electricity you need depending on the inverter, depending on the batteries, etc. I did actually live off-grid in Mexico prior to my arrest, and that was when I got caught with the 16 kilos importing them into the USA. So, you know, housing after prison is one of our biggest concerns. It's a concern that's going to concern your family. It's also going to concern you. So I've got other ideas as well, but I just wanted to share these because these are so off the chain, so off the wall. You know, maybe you're loaded, maybe your family's loaded, maybe they can take care of you, but if you're getting out with just a little bit of money, or your family members is, you know, trying to watch out for you and trying to figure out something for you. When I got out, I didn't have any money. You know, if it wasn't for my brother looking out for me and actually buying me a place, I would have had nothing. So, you know, I would have been stuck probably living in the halfway house. You know, so, and then with the BOP cutting back people's halfway house time so that you cannot earn money before you get out, you better hope that you stashed some money that the feds weren't able to seize. So this is Wesley with Federal Prison Consulting. Please follow and share and like for more. And if you got any comments, if you got any ideas, any suggestions, please drop those in the comments. If you know any other loopholes for felons to be able to get into housing cheaper, I know there's probably grants as well. George Soros actually has the he has a lot of grants that he gives out. You could start a nonprofit, get grants, things like that, anything to do with prison reform, things like that. So that might be an option too if you're thinking about setting up housing for other inmates. Start a nonprofit, get a George Soros grant. I've got a friend who personally got, I believe it was $120,000 grant from the George Soros Foundation, and all she was doing was figuring out how many Democrat non-voters were in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and she got $80-something or $120,000, I can't remember. So he does put a lot of money into prison reform. So guys, please follow me for more. Please like and share. And if you got a loved one in problems in the federal prison system, being abused, being denied halfway house, etc., I fight for your loved ones like no one else can. I lobby to the Congress and to the Senate. I open cases against the VOP. There's going to be a lot of lawyers involved. There's going to be a lot of spotlights involved on that prison, and it's going to instantly protect your loved one from abuse. So contact me today. Drop me a note in the comments. Send me a DM. Let's get started. God bless.